Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to be learning how to reframe negative thoughts, so stay tuned. So what is reframing? It's a process of reconceptualizing a problem by seeing it from multiple perspectives. The more flexible we can become with our own perceptual lens, the more freedom and flexibility we have moving through the world. The thing is that nothing means anything. We are the meaning makers of our world. So here's an example. Two different people can look at the same situation and have completely different experiences. And this is due to each one of them looking through their own perceptual lens. One may view the particular situation as an opportunity, and the other one may view it as an absolute disaster. And the thing is, we'll experience certain symptoms due to whatever perception we hold about a particular experience. So for person A who sees it as an opportunity, they may feel quite optimistic or hopeful about the situation. This puts them in a powerful, resourceful state to be able to problem solve. Person B will be in an unresourceful state of being. This won't allow them to see solutions. They'll only be able to see the massive mountain that is the problem in front of them. This is why learning to reframe is one of the most powerful tools we can learn, because it allows us to navigate whatever treacherous terrain life has thrown at us, recognizing that we are coloring it with meaning. You see, the thing is that you are currently looking at reality through your very own lens. This lens is tainted with limiting beliefs or perceptions and conditions that we've received through society or our families. And if we're not checking in with what our current perception of reality is, then we're going to be unknowingly limiting our experience. The first step to reframing an unwanted or unpreferred thought is by having the awareness of them. When we recognize that our thoughts shape our reality, it is crucial to identify any negative pattern thinking. Start by paying attention to that inner dialogue. What is that little inner critic saying? And notice any particular reoccurring thoughts or beliefs. You can start by writing them down as you identify a particular belief. Jot it down in a journal so that you can come back and reframe it later. So let's take a really common example. I can't do that because I'm not good enough. This is an extremely common negative thought that really hinders our progress as well as our self-esteem. So if you've ever heard that little voice in your head saying you're not good enough, then it's time to reframe it. Once you've identified the unwanted thought, it's time to challenge it. You can do this by asking, is this true or is this helpful? What you'll find after that is a strew of reasons why it may be true, but it's always deeply unhelpful because it leads to procrastination, to overwhelm, and to really low self-esteem. When challenging a thought, it's essential to test for validity. Most of the time, it is completely untrue. Or there's many other ways of looking at the same thought or situation. Now it's time to reframe that unwanted thought. So once we've identified it, tested for validity, the next step is reframing it. So if the thought is, I'm not good enough, what other lens could you look at this through? I am constantly evolving. Can you see how quickly the body is able to shift from that almost stuck feeling that the I'm not good enough creates to I am constantly evolving or I am constantly learning? It gives the body more spaciousness and encourages self-belief and growth. Remember, what we say to ourselves actually creates not only our experience of reality, but how we feel in our bodies. So remember, when reframing unwanted thoughts, it's really important to use positive and action-orientated language. Language affects every single cell in our body, and our body responds to what that inner voice is saying. When we're constantly repeating, I'm not good enough, the body's going to feel heavier, slower, and much less motivated. Just by reframing that same thought to I am constantly learning and evolving, there is so much more space to be able to move forward, get a little messy, and recognize that it's okay to make mistakes. So you can go back and write down next to those unwanted thoughts your new reframes. Whenever you hear that old thought pop up, see how quickly you can reframe it and see how quickly that shifts your body. So on this topic of reframing, let's reframe the idea of negative versus positive thoughts. When we look at it through this very dualistic lens, we can kind of get stuck in black and white thinking. When we think in this black and white way, it's very easy to get caught in extremes. Recognizing rather that just by using the terminology unwanted, unpreferred, or limiting versus resourceful, empowering, and encouraging, we can move out of judgment and rather get curious about these thinking patterns. And the more aware we become, the easier it's going to be to reframe. So let's try this exercise. I want you to identify one of your most limiting or unwanted thoughts that you find yourself often thinking. Write it down. Pause this video and write it down. Next up, we're going to challenge it. I want you to look at what you've written down and ask yourself, is this true or is this helpful? Really sit with that for a minute. By you continuously thinking this particular thought, is it moving you forward? Is it making you feel good? If not, it's time to reframe it. Now, looking at that particular thought or belief that you've written down, I want you to see if there are any other ways or perspectives that you can look at it through. So in the example of not good enough, the lens of looking at life as a growth opportunity, that you're always growing and evolving, and there's always room to get better, makes space both mentally, emotionally, and physically. So I want you to write down next to that limiting thought a few possible reframes. Try them on. Make sure that they're stated in positive language as well as action-orientated. Congratulations, you've learned how to reframe unwanted or unpreferred thoughts. Remember that it takes time and practice, so play with this tool and see how quickly you can activate your reframing superpowers. If this video was helpful, then make sure to like and subscribe to be notified for future videos. I'll see you soon.